Ready? Now then, people, it's Joe and Oscar, and we're both...
How are we, guys? I'll be honest, guys. I wasn't expecting that absolute techers from Joe Wayman there. It's just absolute techers. What on earth? Absolute equality. He's gone for the Megs, and he's just made it, mate. He's just Megs. He's just unreal techers.
A little intro there for you. I mean, I don't know if you managed to... Have you heard this one yet, Oscar? You ready for this?
Now it's time for All Smart Aren't We? Presented by Danny.
He puts the glasses on as well. When he puts the glasses on.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, that's our new Friday show, which is called Before the Whistle Blows, which I believe Oscar's joining us for this week.
Certainly will be, mate. I'll certainly be there this week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Danny's All Smart, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. For anyone that... Oh, hang on. I was just going on our Twitter, and it's... Oh, there we go. For anyone who's joining us, if you do have Twitter, the All Leeds TV account is now live on Twitter as well. So if you could give that a retweet, that'd be greatly appreciated. That includes you, Mr. Marriott.
Well, mate.
And if
we're getting too tech savvy now, mate. I'm still stuck in the 90s here, mate.
We've got YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope via Twitter. Please retweet if you're on Twitter, or if you have access to Twitter, just drop us a retweet. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash a like. Of course, on the screen behind us here, and of course in Oscar's room, we've got City and Wolverhampton Wanderers playing, which coincidentally, after Sheffield United at the weekend, they're our next two home games. So we get to have a real good look at the likes of, Jimenez, Adama Traore. We all know about that beast.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on the City side, I mean, wow. It's going to be some two tough games there, isn't it, mate?
Unbelievable tests, mate. I think it's going to be a quality game this today, I think it's going to be a quality game tonight. Big test for City. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the next one's the big one, isn't it? Obviously, Sheffield United. I've not seen much of the Sheffield United game. Saw about a 20-minute spell.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sheffield United down to 10 minutes. Hard to gauge them from that.
Missed the penalty as well. Missed the penalty.
Yeah, they missed the penalty too. So you never know. On another day, maybe they get something from it. And it's fair play to them. They played, about 80 minutes with 10 men, and then you got beat 1-0. They're resilient. I'll give them that. But yeah, I do look at Sheffield United. I don't think there's a lot of goals in that team. I think you've said before, mate, I expect a much tighter game than the first two. Much tighter. 1-2 goals tops.
I think it could be 1-0 either way, much like it was in the Championship. I genuinely think that I think we'll cancel each other out. We did before, mate, in the Championship, if you remember. I think Coop made the error and Basham scores from Billy Sharp letting him in. Then at Bramall Lane, Dean Henderson made the error, and that Jack Clark little chip over to Pablo Hernandez's path. I'll remember that because that was one of the moments where I was like, we're going up this season, obviously. It went tits up, but it's going to be a good game, that. But I said, and I've said this, a few times, if we could take 6 points from the first three, which if we win on Sunday, we have done, that's absolutely huge. Huge,
oh, mate, absolutely, mate. I think, even if we just draw on Sunday, I think it's a good result. I know that sounds a bit boring, but 4 points from the first three, kind of, I think a lot of teams are dropping points. There's a lot of teams who have lost both games, already. I think about 7 or 8 teams have lost both games already. Yeah. So all of a sudden you've got a 6-point gap on them. When you're going into Wolves and Man City, they've got it's a big gap, early doors. If we can get something at Sheffield United, or maybe even win, it's not totally against the realms of possibility we win that game. Not totally against the realms of possibility. Always, I mean, Wilder and Bielsa have got immense respect for each other. And if you know what happens, end of 18-19, Wilder had a bit of a go, and we had a bit of a go back, and then Wilder had to go again, and then obviously all that leads to falling apart again. But we've got immense respect, for what Sheffield United have done there. If we can do anything like what they've done last season, a really good season for us, and I think, I'm sure it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, guys, keep getting your comments in. We will get them answered. I can see them putting in, and there's some definite decent ones we can get our teeth into this afternoon, this evening, should I say? But yeah, like you said about the games losing. I think what's that now? West Ham have lost 2, West Brom have lost 2, Fulham have lost 2, Sheffield United have lost 2, Southampton have lost 2. So there's already 5 teams, that are down there. And if we can pick up a maximum points against Sheffield United, then Sheffield United have lost 3, and we've got 6 points on them already. It's huge. It is huge, and hopefully, we can come away from Bramall Lane with 3 points. But because I just look at the next 2, like you say, City and Wolves, and for me, it becomes a bit of a free hit again. I know they're at Ellen Road, but City's City, isn't it? You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see how we go up against the likes of De Bruyne, Foden, Sterling. Jesus, they've
got Mahrez on the bench. That sums up how good City are. Yeah, the fact they can put someone like that on the bench.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like Wolves could be winning this tonight, and then City put on Mahrez, and all of a sudden the game changes. Just got game changes all over the pitch, mate. For me, it's I think you've said before. I think you've said you were fancying City to win the league. I think it's going to be very close. I still think Liverpool, but I still think that's going to be a big, big test against City.
I think with the signing of Jota and, of course, Thiago, it's swung in Liverpool's way again, hasn't it? I don't know if anyone's seen that video of that. Thiago Alcantara. Have you seen it, Oscar, where they're dancing? That had me in stitches. I thought, he broke a record yesterday, didn't he? He broke a record for the most complete in
75 passes. Unreal, mate. That's the quality that's coming into this league now. I think as much as we said, obviously that Liverpool game, I think it was good to get it over and done with earlier now. Because looking at Liverpool on Sunday, but I tell you what, I take confidence from, mate. I look at our performance against Liverpool compared to Chelsea's. Chelsea were parking the bus from after 20 minutes. We were absolutely, just went for it. We went for it for 90 minutes. Ultimately we didn't get anything from the game, but we gave ourselves a much better chance than Chelsea did. Yeah, Chelsea got 10 men, but they were never getting anything from that, even with 11 for me.
Yeah. No, I agree, mate. Sorry, I just had to do something on the computer there. That's why I went black for a second. There was no gremlins in the system for a change. That was totally my fault. It was embarrassing. Regardless of what Chelsea fans will tell you, even when there were 11 men on the pitch, they weren't in the game. I suppose you can say they were in the game, but my point is they put 11 men behind the ball basically, and we're trying to catch, I guess, Werner up against Fabinho one-on-one. But I thought Fabinho was quality yesterday for a DM sitting in at centre back. He was immense, wasn't he?
Unbelievable, mate. That you can tell a quality player when Werner's got a massive advantage on him pace-wise. Fabinho is big. He's lanky. He's not going to have a lot of pace on him. He doesn't have a lot of pace on him, but he's got a footballing brain. That man. Yeah. I'll tell you what. To be fair to him, as much as I hate to admit it, as soon as Liverpool brought him on in that first game of the season against us, I think we were like 15 minutes to go. I know he won the penalty, but it kind of changed that last 10 minutes. That kind of the flow of the last 10 minutes, him coming on. I do genuinely think he's probably up there, the best kind of his type. Holding midfielders. A real top kind of player, like a
Fernandinho, right?
Calvin. That's what Fabinho is, an upgraded Calvin. But let's hope Calvin gets to that level one day.
One day, mate. Well, Bielsa's done it with the likes of Javi Martinez and stuff before him, and so you never know, mate. You never know. For them that are getting the comments in, questions in, keep them coming in, guys. We're going to be here for a while. We've got Monday Night Football on in the background. You've got us live. We've got some transfer stuff to go through as well, and just continue to get your questions in. And we will get them answered. So we'll jump straight into this one, Oscar. It's an outgoing. Jordan Stevens has joined Swindon on loan. Just on my 10 penneth on Jordan Stevens. Every time Jordan Stevens came on, and it's a bit poor of me about him specifically, but it used to frustrate me because he would come on in games and have zero impact. And it wasn't through fault of his own. It was just, he wasn't ready for me. But it just showed at the time our threadbare squad. I remember going to Stoke away, Jordan Stevens being brought on. I remember in other games where we were struggling, Jordan Stevens getting brought on and thinking, we've just got nothing, no impact from the bench. Did you feel that yourself at times, especially in that first season?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the trouble is for Jordan Stevens is we're seeing so many of our younger players. Jack Clark in that first season, especially the first half of the first season. How many times did he come on in kind of Jordan Stevens' position and really influence games? Obviously, Jamie Shacks came on in games, influenced them. Tyler Roberts, it does reflect quite badly on Jordan Stevens, but maybe he's a late developer. Who knows? Yeah. But I think it's the right decision. I think he does need game time more than anything. I think at that age, particularly where he's not showing that natural kind of confidence of a Clark or Shackleton when he first came into the squad. I'd agree, mate. I can't really think of anything where I've seen Jordan Stevens so far where I thought, okay, bit of game time, and you'll definitely be a Bielsa player. But who knows, mate? Maybe he just needs that game time. Get used to another team, another environment. Go out of his comfort zone more than anything. I think he's kind of best thing. He's come from Forest Green up to about the age of 17, and all of a sudden he's got to move to Leeds United, and he's not really been out of his comfort zone from there. Now he's going back to kind of like the level he was already at. Let's see if he can deliver. Let's see, mate. But I'd have to agree. I think people like Shackleton, Paveda, you probably look at as being more likely at this moment in time, but. Who knows, mate? You have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, who else do you see going out on loan? I think the fact that against Hull the other week when we were absolutely garbage, the fact that Robbie Gotts and Alfie McCalmont didn't start for me, and really only Gotts was brought on because to try and inject something into the game because we were terrible, weren't we? But do you see the fact that McCalmont and Gotts, not featuring in that game, and there's been a lot of stuff on the Leeds Twitter sphere, etc., and links here and there that they might be going out. I heard at one point that Gotts and McCalmont were going to Blackpool. I heard, that they were going to Barnsley. I've heard loads of little bits here and there. Who else do you see going out on loan? Is it the likes of them that you see?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be surprised if Huddersfield do get involved. I think Corberan, obviously, it's not been a good start for Corberan, to be fair. I know, albeit going to Brentford away isn't ideal. It isn't really an easy one to judge him on because Brentford, I think, are probably going to go into the Premier League this season. They lost that one, obviously, to Norwich. But I think Huddersfield probably will look at our players now. We'll probably try and do a bit of business. I think Bogus is another one I look at and think probably... will I think because he's not his last couple of games for us, Bogus. I think he showed that great potential in Australia. I think he needs a loan. I think he needs to kind of build up a little bit, bulk up a bit, get to Bielsa levels of fitness because he seems to be, for want of a better word, he was knackered, to be honest, in that whole game after 45, 60 minutes, and I could see him going out. A lot of the players you've already mentioned. I think Gotts and McCalmont are the obvious ones. Whether maybe one of the centre backs, Charlie Creswell, maybe Ollie Casey. I think obviously Ollie Casey I looked at, and I was a bit surprised. Ollie Casey, I know he played holding midfield, but from what I've seen before that, I thought Ollie Casey was going to do a lot better than that against Hull. Maybe that has kind of affected his confidence a little bit. Who knows? That game, I think maybe he needs regular game time now. I think he did look a little bit rusty in that game.
Yeah. What do you think to this? This is coming from a real, always viewers of the channel. So thank you, Alison and Marty Adams, because they're always watching.
Yeah,
they've said, did you? Barry Douglas apparently was in Glasgow at the weekend. Didn't know this, but the question is, do you think he's off? There's been a lot of links or little murmurings about a possible move to Celtic. What do you feel about that? I mean, looking at the Take Us Home 2 documentary, and I feel that Barry's a real part of the dressing room. I got that vibe from that documentary and the videos that he did on social media with the likes of Calvin and stuff like that, and I get a real sense that he's a real part of the dressing room. But in terms of, I know you were a massive fan when he came in, and I think we all were, but then it's slowly, for me, I just don't know what Barry does. I think he's had one start of the season under Bielsa when he first came in. Yeah, good. I remember he made the assist to Cooper in that first game, and I thought, this is what you get him for. Then I can't really think of anything apart from was it Blackburn where he played in the running? He played one of them games in the running where he was absolutely fantastic, and people were asking for him to start the following one. And I was scratching my head because I was like, we all forgetting about what Stuart Dallas has done. But I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts are. If he was to move on, do you see it as being a loss?
I don't know, mate. It's hard to say because you look at it, and I do genuinely think he had another game. I think it was Derby, right towards the end of the season. I know, look, everyone was pissed up in that game, weren't they? But he, to be fair, looked really good in that game for me again. But I do agree, mate. I think the trouble with Barry Douglas is, I think age isn't on his side. I think for a Bielsa fullback, you've got to have the legs for it as well. You've got to have the legs for it. And I do think he's got the head for it, the brain. I think he does read the game well. He's good passer of the ball. But again, I think just the thing that's been disappointing with Barry is the lack of kind of like overlapping or balls into the box. Like you see like a Luke Ayling do on the other side. You kind of expect that off Barry Douglas as well. But I don't know whether it's a case of he's not had a run of games, because let's be honest, he's not had a run of games since the start of the first season. Ever since that first injury he's kind of been in and out, injured, then out for ages, then in for a game, out again. So it's hard to judge, but I do agree with you, mate. It's been disappointing overall so far. But I do think in terms of his influence on the dressing room, could be a loss from that point of view. In terms of leadership, obviously we've already lost Ben White from the dressing room. I know Ben White was a popular figure. Look, he wasn't the leader as such or a big personality, but he was someone that the rest of the dressing room got on with. So I look at it from that point of view. It could be a loss, but I don't know really, mate, because I'm not at all convinced by Alioski at left back. I know he's got the energy to play there.
Coming on in the 10.
That's the thing. I mean, that was. I mean, on Saturday, mate, I could not work out what was going on. I was asking you. I
think I said we were just going to be playing 3 left-sided players.
It looked like just some kind of like experiment on Football Manager where you just got like just 3 in a line. It was mad, mate.
Sorry, I was just reacting there. It looked like Sterling went down too easy up against Cody, but he was in.
I just don't know what to make of Barry Douglas, mate. I just don't know. I mean, he was poor on Wednesday night, and I mean poor. I think that's the kind of game where a player of Barry Douglas's experience, with all those younger players around him, he has to do more for me. But I don't know, mate. Unless it's a decent size fee and he actually specifically wants to leave the club, I mean, we can't stand in his way. Look, he's a 31-year-old. If he wants to play first-team football, you can't blame him. He's good personality around the dressing room, but it's one of those. I kind of see it a bit like, City, on the City documentary, All or Nothing. You saw like people like Fabian Delph.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to contribute a lot on the pitch, but when you've got that leadership in the dressing room, it does go a long way, sometimes. It does go along, especially when the chips are down. You need someone that kind of like just gets everyone going. But I don't know, mate, whether that's just Berardi's job, but it's a hard one, mate. Unless the fee's good, I wouldn't personally.
No, you wouldn't move him on. There's a few comments coming in. We've got Kariza Kundalini Kenosis, if I've pronounced that right, says, why didn't Leeds buy Emilio Martinez, who made his debut for Villa tonight in the league and saved the penalty? Great goalkeeper. We've had another comment as well, a little bit further down. There's a few scores. Someone just asking, are we in for Romero? I was thinking on the in the goalkeeper situation. I think it was Giancarlo Paolucci.
Legend, this guy, by the way. On the player ratings thing, there's so much banter on Saturday being Giancarlo. The best name I've seen on all Leeds TV so far is what we agreed anyway.
It's quite cool, isn't it? Giancarlo Paolucci. Cool name, sounds like a footballer. But he says, is there any momentum on us being in for Romero? On the goalkeeper situation, not on our goalkeepers. I don't want to touch on that. I'm a big fan of Melier. I did say it was a bit like BPF when. But
to be fair, mate, I look at. Do you not think? Certainly on the third goal, Meslier should have commanded that. I think that was a mistake on the. Look, he did okay, I thought, on Saturday, but they saw a few signs on Saturday maybe that maybe he does need that extra competition now. I think because Sia, I look at, Casillas no competition, is he? I mean, if
No.
he's not, the fact is, I don't think Casillas was even on the bench on Saturday. Well, I know he was injured, but the thing is, there's not much competition for Meslier at the minute. And when you're that age, I think you could still do some healthy competition there as well.
Yeah, but my thing is, and that's why I brought the Martinez up. You look at Ramsdale, who went to Sheffield United. You're talking 18 million, 16, 18 million. Romero, what would he go for? 10.
It's wages as well. Whereas people like Martinez
thing.
and Romero, I mean, Arsenal and Scum, top 6 clubs, you're talking upwards of 50 grand straight off the bat, aren't you?
So, as a Leeds United fan, at this moment in time, and people might disagree and they can let us know in the comments, I think it's quite a large outlay that we could do without. And I've got enough confidence in Meslier over a season for us to be okay. It's not as if you've got Kepa in goal, for example, that needs changing like instantly. That kid, I can't believe he's the most expensive goalkeeper at 70-odd million.
Joke, isn't it? It's a joke. I mean, Alisson's there. He costs 5 million less. He's saving save on that penalty. I mean, and you look at that and thinking, he costs 5 million less. And Chelsea rejected Alisson and then paid 5 million more for unbelievable, mate. But I mean, to be fair, there's a mention down there of David Raya. I mean, I noticed David Raya was only on the bench for Brentford. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying David Raya's a better goalkeeper than he's probably fairly cheap and then gives some competition. I don't know. Is that maybe? I do agree with you though, mate. I don't think we can afford to spend that amount of outlay on a potentially second choice goalkeeper. I don't think we can get Romero and the Martinez-esque goalkeeper. I think we've got to go for someone maybe from the Championship, like a David Raya, maybe a Dan Bentley, someone like that. I thought he looked good last season. Just someone who could maybe just come in as second choice and just not necessarily start games, maybe just play cup games or give some competition. Keep Meslier on his toes, because that's the problem. You see a lot of the coaches say these days, with goalkeepers especially, when they get too relaxed and chilled out, you lose. I think you do need that competition on the bench just to focus the mind and just keep going. Really,
Yeah, I think. But do you see that as something we need to do this season? Looking at what else and other areas of the pitch we could do with strengthening. Do you really see the goalkeeper as somewhere that we could need to invest this season and should invest?
Not desperately, mate. I think the big one for us at the minute is, and I'm sure we're going to get onto it, is midfield at the minute for me. I think what I would like to say though is, mate, I think you kind of said this on the post-match as well. I think we're both in agreement. I think it's been a big exaggeration in this game that all of a sudden we've got the worst defence in Europe. And I think
even within our own fans,
it's one crazy game of football, isn't it, mate?
I've seen it even within our own fans saying we need to sort this defence. I'm like, hang on a minute. Fulham was a bit of a freak one, but
I mean, Cardiff last season, we had Ben White playing in that game, but we still drew 3-3. It can happen, you can have that game where Liverpool can see the 3 against us. You can see Liverpool say, "Oh, that's White. We're going to bin off Virgil van Dijk. We're going to bin off Alexander-Arnold." They were terrible in that game, but that's the thing. One game, mate. I think obviously Koch, it's not been a fantastic start for him so far. Obviously the 2 penalties, but I've seen enough in Koch to say, yes, they can build something there between him and Cooper. I think on the 3rd goal, they had that miscommunication. One was going one way, one was going the other. But it happens, mate. It's all about partnerships and building it and getting them used to playing together and that lot. And for me, I don't think defensively is as much of a priority as maybe what conceding 7 goals would suggest. I think it will calm itself down. I just think midfield now, I think the facts, we've started Rodrigo in the game. Rodrigo didn't really look comfortable, and then put Roberts in there, and Roberts doesn't look comfortable at the minute in that team either. I think you need a natural midfielder, someone like an Adam Forshaw or better, because Adam Forshaw, look, we can't rely on Adam Forshaw. As much as I like him, Jamie Shackleton's still probably not quite ready. I think we've got to go big guns on a midfielder alongside this, because Matthijs Klick isn't a young man, and as much as I love him, and he's been our best player so far for me this season. He's 30 years old now. In terms of, after you get kind of past 30, you kind of going past your peak. We probably do need that younger Matthijs Klick to play alongside him and kind of phase from there for me. That's kind of my feeling on that.
Yeah, I think, it's quite frustrating. Just my opinion, seeing people lambasting the defence.
Oh,
You've got small, short memories. It was only.
I'm seeing all over Twitter about how Stuart Dallas is all of a sudden a liability, and it's a problem now that we've got a right-footed left back. No. Maybe so. Maybe in 10, 12 games' time that might be the case. But to say that after 2 games, when he's done a brilliant job against Mo Salah, it's madness, mate. It is genuinely madness for me.
Against Liverpool, I believe he had the most tackles on the pitch in that first half. People forget short memories, but a lot of it's.
But mate, we won the game. That's the thing. Yeah. I wouldn't mind if it finished 4-4 or something, but we actually won the game. And kind of the last 10 minutes or so, we saw it out okay. We didn't panic like I thought we were going to in that last 10. But I just think it was a massive over-exaggeration to that last 30 minutes. We've got to remember on Saturday, for 60 minutes of that game, as me and you said, at 4-1, we were thinking, flipping heck. You know what? We could be the top scorers in the whole league here if we carry on like this. And it happens, mate. We're at a top level here. It can happen, and we just got to. It's going to happen at times this season. We just got to keep calm and to react like some people have reacted after one game that we've won is just crazy to me, mate.
Yeah, it doesn't make for great reading. 7 goals scored, 7 goals conceded. I get it, but as a Leeds United fan, for me, we should be aware of the team, that had the best defensive record or one-off across Europe for a period of time last season. And that's when we had Calamity Kiko in net as well. So, let's not forget that. And like you say, I don't see it as being, look, we'll move on slightly to, and it sort of coincides with it, the news that Gvardiol, Josko Gvardiol, has agreed to go to RB Leipzig and has chosen RB Leipzig over Leeds United. So on that one there, listen, I don't know much about Gvardiol. I've never seen him play. A lot's been made about him being the next best thing and for 20 million. But again, I've seen it for me, Oscar, as knowing that we don't have an abundance of cash to spend. I've seen it as a bit of a pointless outlay, paying 20 million for someone that's not going to be a first star. Yeah. I think Pascal Struijk showed me, or Struijk, however you want to say it. Pascal Struijk showed me in that first game that he can do a job at centre-back. We also know that KP can do a job at centre-back. And if needs must, Luke Ayling can do a job at centre-back. Dallas can go in at right-back. And you bring Douglas Alioski at left-back. I just seen it as a bit like 20 million for a kid that's not going to start. Yes, massive resale value, etc. if the thoughts are to be true. And the fact that RB Leipzig have gone in for him as well shows me that he's got a bit about him because they're known for buying young, exciting prospects and selling them on,
100%.
And what's your thoughts on that, on the centre-back situation as a whole, and the fact that, are you that bothered that we've missed out on a player that would have cost 20 million?
Nah, not for me, mate. I think, look, again, like, I've not seen him play 90 minutes. I've literally gone to YouTube, looked at him, and he's looked good, to be fair. But anyone can look good on a highlights reel. But look, he looked like pretty much like a stereotypical young centre back in the modern era. Just good on the ball, decent pace, etc. Quite good in set pieces. But there was nothing there that made me think, well, yeah, okay, yeah, you can say he looked promising, but you've got to think about it. He's left-footed as well, entirely left-footed. The only way you can really get him into the team, because no team can play 2 left-footed centre-backs, it's just horrendous. I remember when we tried to play it with Jason Pearce and Liam Cooper, when Cooper just first arrived, it's all over the place. It just doesn't look right at all. But you would have to play Koch and Gvardiol together, and then you got a whole new centre-back partnership. And there was so much we'd have had to have done to have got Gvardiol into the team in the first place. And as you say, there's no way he's going to play instead of Cooper. There's no way he's going to play instead of Koch. So it just didn't make sense to me spending 20 million, more than we spent on Koch, for a player to be on the bench. And look, maybe in a few years' time, we might end up being in a position to make a signing like that. Hopefully we are. But we're not a Wolves. We're not a Leicester. We can't just spend 20 million in our first season in the Premier League and just say, okay, he can go in the in the cupboard, and then we'll bring him out in 2 years' time. You can't just do that at the minute. It's we've got to really be sensible about it and say, look, 20 million is the kind of money we've got to spend on someone in the here and now. Someone like a Rodrigo de Paul, or someone that we need. Or it just, I agree with you, mate. I do think at Leipzig, if Leipzig have seen something in him, Nagelsmann and all that lot, he probably is going to be a decent player. I think with signings and that lot. But at the end of the day, there's going to be loads of players that we miss out on. There's going to be loads of players we get and that lot. Every team misses out on players. I mean, we missed out on Dan James. And that didn't turn out particularly well for them. It's just the way it happens sometimes, isn't it, mate? I'm not too bothered then, mate. I think if we'd signed him and said, okay, it's good we've got a third choice centre back and natural centre back, but it massively hinders Pascal Struijk then as well. So for me, not that bothered. And let's not forget Pascal Struijk came from the Ajax Academy. And the Ajax Academy doesn't produce bad footballers. And we've already seen from Pascal Struijk at Anfield, he looks fine to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Oscar, mate, 100%. I think it's a very large outlay for a centre back. There's Alan Richardson saying he could also play right back, which could be fair enough, but the fact that Ayling's in there, I'm not sure. I just think it was a massive outlay, regardless of where he could play and what he could do. I think it's a very big outlay for someone that's not going to start. Especially when we know that we've spent cash already with the likes of Koch and Rodrigo. Not really, we've not brought any in, and I don't think we will look to sell anyone. Maybe Barry Douglas, but you're not going to get a big fee for him. So it's not as if it's, it's all outlay, as it were. That brings us on then, mate, to to this one. Some reports in Italy saying it's almost done. Others in England saying it's nowhere close. I mean, this is the one I think us all Leeds fans want to happen, isn't it? Listen, again, before he was linked, I knew nothing of the guy. I don't watch Italian football. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just clearing my throat there. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna sit here and profess to have known everything. But the clips that I've seen, it's like, this guy's the perfect foil for what we need. Like, he can play anywhere. He's a battler. He's so good technically. And I just think he's someone that, for me, I've been saying it on Twitter, just spend the cash. I mean, someone said to me in response, oh, yeah, do the Rizdale model. It's hardly the same, is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of that.
Yeah.
I agree with you, mate. I mean, I don't watch a lot of Italian football either, to be fair, mate. Only really Juve, if I'm watching anyone, to be fair, or maybe Inter, but I don't really, go out of my way to watch it at the minute. What I kind of seen in little bits and pieces, same as you, when I've seen this clip of him for Argentina in the Copa America, just highlights and kind of compilations of all these games, and you're thinking, wow, this is like, kind of like, next level. Compared to the other players, this is someone kind of approaching his prime and kind of next level. Seriously, something else. This player, he's got a bit of everything about him. He's kind of got that click engine, goals in him, assists, play up front, big as well, big and strong, powerful. Argentinian, so he's going to have that little nasty edge to him too. Like Argentinian midfielders always have a nasty edge to him. It's just a trait of him. When I like that, I like that about him.
He's fitting at Leeds with that kind of attitude.
I like the fact he plays with a headband as well, so he kind of fits in with the Jack Harrison and Luke Hayden thing as well. So it's all good, mate. There's nothing that can go wrong with this. But I don't know, mate. I genuinely think, I've seen that 25 million mentioned. If we can get in for anything around that, I think it's genuinely cheap, For what centre mids of his type go for now, score goals, pass the ball well, engines, win the ball back, they go for a lot of money these days, mate. And look, I think the big thing as well was last night. Are
you seeing this City game?
I've kind of got it on in the background of the laptop.
Do you think it's a pen? Has De Bruyne just got a pen? He's nicked it and then he's just dived into Sarr's feet.
It's been VAR.
I think they're looking at it now. It's a penalty. KDB, 18 minutes in. Yeah.
I've got those City players in my fantasy team at the minute. So
I've got KDB, to be fair.
Have you? You got KDB?
I think so, yeah.
You'll be taking this, won't he? Surely.
I think I've got KDB. Yeah, I've got every dream. I've got so many dream team, like the FPL, the dream team, the Sky Fantasy Football. He's scored it 1-0. 1-0.
KDB's never ever missing them. He's for me, when he's playing as an out-and-out number 10, KDB, unplayable. When he's just literally in that final third, he's putting it in the ball on the sixpence. He's smashing them in for 30 yards, and he's not missing a penalty all day long. He's scoring.
Maybe Rodrigo De Paul will be our KDB.
That's the thing. RDP. You know what I mean? But he's got that about him, you know. He really has got a creative edge about him. And the fact is, I read a little thing about him in the Copa America. He was outperforming Messi in the tournament for Argentina. He was their best player. And, you know, he had Messi on the pitch, Di Maria, just world-class players, Aguero, all people like that. And the fact he's outperforming them at that stage as well. And I just think South Americans always do well in the Premier League. Always do well in the Premier League. I think it's such a natural step up for them. They've got that aggression to the game. They've got that hunger, the desire. You know, they've had. I really do like the idea of it. But yeah, I think the big thing as well is Juve won comfortably last night. I know Pirlo was looking at him, De Paul. Hopefully, maybe that might say to Pirlo that he trusts what he's already got, and he might leave us alone and just leave us, you know, in pole position.
Like you said, Oscar, and you make a great point. You know, if we look at Saturday, and you're bringing on RDP as opposed to Roberts, it's that next level up, isn't it? You know, you made that point about being the next level up. Yeah, I mean, he's just someone that's so exciting. I think, and to be fair, I've just booked it off work because I feel like it's going to be a busy day. I booked Monday, the 5th of October off because I think there's going to be a few last
deadline
minute.
Day.
Yeah, deadline day. I think there's going to be a few crazy deals. If it's one of them that if it's not done. But then, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think it's going to be a quiet one this time for Leeds United. What about you?
I don't think so either, mate. I think certainly De Paul, I think it feels like, I don't know, maybe, mate. Looking at it, I was talking to my dad about it, you know, when he took Rodrigo off, you know, there was no news of an injury. Maybe, I know Bielsa isn't really want to do this, but maybe Bielsa was kind of doing a little bit of a testing, you know, seeing who can play in that 10 role. And maybe it's proven a little point to Orta, you know, the way that second half went, you know, when Roberts went there, and the fact that Alioski went into that position, that, you know what, wow, we've got to really, you know, think about this and speed it up. But I think not just De Paul coming on for Roberts, I think if Forshaw had come on, you know, in the last 25 minutes, I think we win that game 5-2, to be honest, mate. I don't think he puts a football match, you know, at 4-2. I think he just puts his foot on the ball and we just control it like we did in the first half. I just think that's all, you know, just look, if we get to Paul, that's immense, but we can't trust Forshaw to stay fit. We've got to bring someone who's next level. And then all of a sudden, if you've got a midfield, 4 options in midfield of Paul, Click, Forshaw, Phillips, and then people like Shackleton who can play there, Roberts who can play there if you need to, Pavadra can play there if you need to, all of a sudden, the whole landscape changes then. You look at our midfield and you say, and I genuinely look at it and I look at what Villa played in the midfield today, what Sheffield United played in the midfield today, and say, you know what, we're almost different class to them, you know, in terms of the quality and variety we've got in midfield compared to them. And in any game of football, especially in this league, your midfield is so key now, you know, in what they do. And it's so key. And I think it's the most important position on the whole pitch, is you've got a good balanced midfield. And hopefully Paul will bring that to us. And you know what, I've also forgotten, mate, Pablo. You know, we forget about Pablo. You know, you've got Pablo to throw in the mix too. So it's quality, mate.
It is. And that moves us on nicely. I mean, this was reported as well that Leeds are monitoring 20 million rated Atalanta midfielder Ruslan Malinowski. I think that's how you pronounce it, as an alternative to De Paul. Again, don't know nothing at all about him. I'm not going to sit here and say that I would. And I've been working this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to. I've not had a chance to even really look him up. Does anyone? Do you know anything about him? Does anyone in the comments?
I'm not gonna lie, mate. I know nothing about him. I mean, I saw a bit of Atlanta in the Champions League. They had a good run in the Champions League, but as far as I'm aware, he wasn't a first choice for them. I don't remember seeing him or remembering his name. I think he was on the bench a few times, but I gotta say, mate, I think he's like. I don't think he's a hold midfielder. I think he is just having a quick little look at him. I think he's a bit more advanced. He scored 8 goals last season in 34 games and 18 the season before that. So it suggests he's a fairly good attacking midfielder, to be fair. But Gavin, to be fair, I'm happy if you're saying that, mate.
Yeah, if he's had a great season, that's what I mean. Again, guys, if you know anything about this guy, then let us know. Craig Townend says he's a quality player, a Ukrainian international. So that might be an alternative. But again, I just think looking at RDP,
I still think
Gavin James says he's not on. He's not in the DePaul level. But we'll have to wait and see.
No one is, mate. No one's in the DePaul level.
No. Emmett, we haven't banned your comments, mate, at all. I don't know why that would say that. Let's have a look. We've got here, Malinowski is brilliant, got Champions League experience, good free kick taker, good at passing, and he's a good dribbler. Craig Townend said he scored against Man City in the Champions League last season. So there you go. That's, again, guys, don't know loads about him. It's just a one we have been linked. Another one as well is, just one moment, I need to remove Craig Townend's comments so that we can actually see that. That would be a smart move, wouldn't it? Florence Papal and Nazion claims Leeds have made an increased bid of 15 million for Eric Pulgar, and the offer will be accepted. Some confusion as to whether this is as well as or instead of DePaul. Chilean is a defensive midfielder by trade, but played an advanced role last season. Again, this is the thing from the continent. I do not know these players, man. Talk to me.
I feel like the Soccer Saturday team here, just having just anything outside the Premier League or the league or anything like that. I'm struggling, mate. But yeah mate, again, not one of. I can't really even recall hearing of it. To be fair, I don't really recognise the name either. Sounds really bad, this, but genuinely, I'm not going to lie, mate. Again, I don't know anything about him, but it's encouraging that we're looking at other players, Paul, because if the Paul, look, he's a quality player, he might not come available. We've got to have a backup option in case, it goes wrong.
My God,
There we go, mate. I couldn't hear you.
I don't think
there for like 2 minutes thinking, shit, I can't hear Joe.
Sorry, guys. It's me being smart, thinking, I'll mute it. I'll mute it when I'm not talking, and I forgot to unmute myself. But such a.
I was panicking there. I was thinking, oh my word.
I know, I could see it on your face, and then I seen a little private
chat. Quick.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear you, Joe.
So what I was saying is, obviously, I'll just flash some of the lads' comments up. Pulgar is not bad, but he's a CDM. Great passes and has a good technical, but he's not really number 10 that unlocks defences, which is arguably what we want. Pulgar is more of a defensive midfielder, great player. I watch him on 3 times, good on the ball. Gavin James is pretty up on his Italian football.
We need to get Gavin on here, as a European correspondent.
Italian correspondent, yeah, I love that. But yeah, I think what I was saying when I was muted was the thing that all these players that are in midfield that we're getting linked with are in Italy, right? And it gives me the sort of vibe that maybe are the club being a bit sweet by getting linked to these players, getting it out there as a little nod to Udinese, as if to say, we are willing to go elsewhere. Because there was reports the other day that Udinese had agreed to lower their demands a little bit, and getting linked to Italian players that are in that division, does it make them panic a little bit and think, oh God, Leeds are looking elsewhere? Do you think that could be a tactic, or am I just talking shite?
I agree, mate. No, it definitely happens, mate. It happens all the time. But forget, Udinese have got a player here who could be worth in another year. If he has another good season in Serie A, scores another hatful of goals, it could be worth even more in a year's time. That's the trouble. And Udinese, I think the ball is very much in their court kind of thing. I think they're the ones in a position of strength here. And we've got to be clever about it. We've got to box clever, to get him. I think, hopefully, I think the way DePaul has been going on liking, Leeds United related Instagram posts. It's quite interesting, really. But I don't know. I think if to Paul, I think he wants to play in the Premier League. By the looks of things, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't, unless Juve, Inter Milan, or someone like that comes calling. But I don't know, mate. I do agree. I do see that as potentially being what our tactic is. We know what Victor Orta is like. He's done this before with other players. I think obviously we remember, Che Adams, and when we actually ended up getting John Kevin Augustin, we kind of played that kind of tactic and ended up just going for the other player in the end. So you don't know, mate. I do agree. I think it could be. I think when we do go for a player, we always link the others at the same time. I think that is our kind of strategy. Even when we went in for say Rodrigo, we were linked with Rob Watkins, the links kind of going on about as well. So I think it could be a tactic. Whether it's going to work or not, mate, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work or not, that tactic.
No, we'll have to wait and see. I know I think it's Alan Richardson's mentioned Jordan Lukaku for €5 million in the comments as well. I don't know if Phil might have poured water on that during the one of his podcasts. I'm not sure though, but do you see left back as a position that we need to strengthen? Because like you said, a lot's been made of Stewie D after Arsenal, and people saying we need a specialised left back in that position. What are your thoughts? I suppose we've already spoken about it, but.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not about Stuart Dallas as such. It's about, do we trust Barry Douglas and Alioski enough as second choices? For me, no matter, I'm not seeing a left back within our price range that we can get who's going to do a better job than Stuart Dallas, to be honest. Even though Stuart Dallas isn't a natural left back, I do disagree a lot with those kind of comments. But look at Lukaku. I mean, I've not seen a lot of him, to be honest. I know he's a decent left back. He gets forward, but I've never not seen him have a nightmare, to be honest, in a game. I'll be honest. I remember seeing him a few times at Belgium. I think it might have been the last World Cup. It might have been before that. He did not look good at it at all to me for Belgium and that lot. So, again, I've not seen loads of him. But there was nothing there in kind of like 2 years or so ago from what I saw of him. I think that mocks a lot, to be fair. But, he was only playing because he was Lukaku's, Romelu Lukaku's brother. I remember that, off the top of my head, and that kind of summed it up. And look, I remember the last left back we got from Belgium.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
And so it's one of them, mate. It's
2-0.
Do we trust
2-0 goal from Phil Foden?
City. Foden.
Yeah, top player.
Yeah, City looking good, aren't they? It's good win this for City. Not many teams will win at Wolves. But I don't know, mate. For me, the question is Douglas and Alioski good enough as second choices if Dallas got injured or had to play at right back to fill in for Palin? That is the question for me, mate. Rather than Dallas, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. So there's been a lot of this kid mentioned all evening. And he's going to be the last one that I bring us to before we take on your comments, guys, and have a little chat about your questions for me and Oscar. But it's this man, Mr. Daniel James. Lovely bit of artwork as well by LUFC Fan Zone, top guy. I know he watches from time to time, so give him a shout out and check his podcast out, because I believe he does a podcast now as well. But yeah, Dan James, my 10 penneth on Dan James. I want it to happen. He wanted this move so bad. The club wanted it so bad. Victor was in tears on Take Us Home. I think, yes, he went there, but it hasn't really worked out for him. He started on the weekend, didn't he? But the people make it kicking off about that. Why is he starting him? But I think he comes on so much more as a player under Bielsa than under that clown at Scum. And you think of the players he's got around him, but that's the true beauty of a top coach. The likes of Lampard and Havertz, except he's not getting the best out of him. I know it's only been 2 games, but this is the point I'm making. So I don't see Ollie getting the best out of Dan James. For Dan James's career, it might be best to move from there. And I do see, because he's not really set the world alight, I do see Scum probably being okay with moving him on, if indeed they do look to bring in Sancho. So again, it's another one of them that could happen on deadline day. But I want it to happen me badly. I would love Dan James at Leeds. What about you?
I mean, the thing is, I look at it and I say, I would kind of agree with what you're saying, to be fair, mate. I'd agree, but the only reason I'd want Dan James is that it doesn't affect us signing a midfielder. I want us to sign a midfielder first and foremost. But what I would say about Dan James is that for me, it has to be a loan to buy, because I don't want to be bringing him in and having to play him a certain amount of minutes. I don't want to have that obligation of him being just on loan and Scrum having the rule over us saying that he's got to play 2,000 minutes this season, because that's a big commitment. Yeah, that's a big commitment for someone who struggled last season. But what I would say is that he's been horribly mismanaged mismanaged. You know, he was thrown in at the deep end last season at the start of it when they were really struggling. He was played every single game, like starting kind of thing. You're thinking he's a young kid kind of thing. You know, it's kind of like a total mismanagement. And then he came out, and then Greenwood came in, and he's not really had us looking after that. But I look at it and I say Costa and Harrison have started this season so well. And I think Harrison especially offers so much off the ball that if you bring in, say, Dan James for Harrison from the start of the game, I just think we're so open on that left-hand side. Yeah. You know, you've already got but I don't know, mate. I think I look at it as an option off the bench. Dan James, I think, wow, kind of thing. I tell you what, someone who can come on with 20 minutes to go and change the game, and then maybe come in for Costa, come in for Harrison as the season goes on. But I think he's a long way off being a Bielsa starter, to be honest. I think he's got to massively up those fitness levels. Obviously Ollie, different level of coach, isn't he? He just hasn't got his players fit. I mean, look how knackered they looked after an hour against Palace. They were getting absolutely ran all over the place. I mean, Zaha looks like he's been training for 2 years, and the rest of the team has been training for like a week. He looked like an Olympic athlete compared to the rest of the Man United team. So, I prefer him, but it's one of them, isn't it? It's I look at him and say I don't think he's a starter, but a loan to buy, and we get the call as well. Great business for me. Great business, because there's been fair points as well, mate. If Harrison or Costa got injured, who's coming in? You could say Pablo. Is Pablo too old now to play as a winger, in the Premier League to really affect it? Eat a fullback for pace. Is Alioski good enough to start games at this level? It's a fair point, but I don't know, mate. It depends on a lot of things. Is Dan James willing to come to Leeds and sit on the bench like he does for Man United, but get a much, much, much better football education from Bielsa and in a team that suits him? And let's not forget, he's a Yorkshire lad too. He wanted to move to happen, as you said. I would say what Michael's saying there. I think the number 10, the Paul, the priority. I think there's money left in the kitty, get James as well.
Yeah, I think Michael does make a good point. It's like I'm contradicting myself because I'm saying let's not spend XYZ on a player when we've already got. I get why you say that, Michael, and you make a good point. I just think for me, I like the and maybe it's heart ruling overhead. I like the little story of it. The move that never was. He comes to Leeds, resurrects his career as a barnstormer.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Mate, honestly, him getting the winner. Imagine Old Trafford, December the 19th. He comes on. Yeah, Harrison, 10 minutes to go. He just skips past Luke Shaw and just fucking
does the maze up. Round Shaw inside. He's put it through Maguire's legs. Oh, it's in the top corner.
Unreal. I tell you what, mate, I can't wait. If you see that Man United game, just to completely off topic, if they are like that against us, against Costa and Harrison, Lindelof and Maguire, that clumsy, I honestly think we could go there and cause a bit of a January the 3rd.
If they don't sign a centre back, mate, if they don't sign a centre back, they're fucked, aren't they?
Absolutely. De Gea kept him in the game.
All this talk about them being top 4 and that, for me, I just look at it and think it's such a tosh. You get in there, because of the more so of what happened last season with the Premier League teams around them. If Sheffield United don't drop off after Leicester dropped off a cliff, etc. But Bruno Fernandes can only impact so much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he was completely honest on Saturday.
Because he's had a proper pre-season under Ollie now. That's it. He's gone backwards.
It's Ollie pre-season. It's Ollie. Yeah, that's the thing. He was a brilliant player before, and it's almost like he's just just kind of
exactly.
just going on the piss for like 3 weeks is what he might as well have done. To be fair, he probably would have come back a better player if he'd just been drinking every single day for 3 weeks, and he would have done an early pre-season. To be honest, that's pretty much the case.
All right. I know it's been brutal, guys. Thank you so much as well. We've got like 200 people watching. Please smash a like, and if you can, drop us a retweet on Twitter. I've seen it's been retweeted about 10 times, so that's buzzing. Yeah, nice. We're coming up to like up close to an hour. Guys, if you want to get your questions in, get them in now, and we'll go, because that was my agenda ticked off. Yeah. Jakanji, what do you make to this as well, right? Good friend of the channel. I've seen a few bits of this. I think a lot of it was due to the fact that Phil reported that Leeds was still in for Gvardiol, but at the same time, people were saying it was done and he was on his way to RB Leipzig. I think if people are genuinely giving Phil Hay stick, I mean, that guy's the oracle and has been. He's entitled to maybe be a little bit behind in some cases. So I mean, have you seen any of this?
It's absolutely. It's only us who could do something like this, though, isn't it? I mean, it's only us who could start turning on Phil A. It's like when the fans turned on Pablo when he had like one bad game. It's just like it's only us who could do this. But no, to be fair, look, I mean, end of the day, the transfer market these days is so volatile. It's going to be mistakes. Yeah. You know, I think Fabrizio Romano, I mean, who said about said about Gvardiol and that lot. You know, Fabrizio Romano is like the oracle of all the European transfers at the minute. Yeah. He's got a few wrong, you know. He's got a few wrong. You know, he said about Sancho. You know, he said that was pretty much a done deal, I think. And that's the thing. You're never going to have a 100% hit rate. And to be fair, Phil Hay has been pretty much for the last 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Remarkable since the Bielsa era. You know, he's picked out things early doors. You know, I remember the Eddie stuff. He was nice and early on about that. Even the outgoings. You know, look, at the end of the day, Phil Hay can't control what Orta says or does. You know, Orta might decide 1 week, you know what, we're looking at him. He looks absolutely brilliant. Say if it's Martinez from Arsenal, he looks absolutely brilliant to him. You know what, we're going to go and sign him. And then the next week, he makes an absolute wicket, howler, and decide not to. What can Phil Hay do about that? It's one of them. Right? Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. We're lucky to have Phil Hay. We are genuinely lucky to have so many high-quality reporters for this football club. Not just us two, mate. Not just us two. Yeah, there's others as well. You know, we need to be humble. There's others as well. But, like, not just high-quality reporters, but they're, you know, impartial as well. That's the big thing with Phil Hay. He's remarkably impartial. You always read his stuff, and you know it's not bias, and that's the big thing for me. You have that real trust of Phil Hay. You know, what he says. Yeah, when Phil Hay speaks, you listen. That's the thing. You listen because you know you're listening to the probably one most well-informed people about this football club at this moment in time. So definitely. If anyone wants to go at Phil Hay, you know, just go away. Just go away.
But you know, I mean, I think maybe in being athletic, he's not as close to the club as he once was from a YEP perspective, if that makes sense, you know? Like when he went to the game I'm just talking shite, like I don't know, but what I'm saying is more so is if maybe he doesn't have that direct connection with the club anymore as opposed to when he was with YEP, if that makes sense, you know? Like when we went to Salford, for example, he came with me because he couldn't get a ticket for the press box. Do you see what I'm saying, Oscar? Are you there? Is he frozen, guys? Or is it me? What's going on? Is this me or him? Please help me, because I know I was talking shite. But I don't know what's happened here.
You see me now?
What is going
on here? What's going on? I just refreshed. It's just refreshed. Why should it refer to me?
Double trouble.
It's like,
what's going on here?
What's going on? There we go. I don't know what happened there. I didn't even do anything, but
I was talking here, and then I was like, fucking hell, I know I'm talking shite here, but he's not even listening to me.
Sorry about that, mate.
No, it's all right, man. I was talking rubbish anyway.
You're basically saying that Phil Hay, his head's been turned now. His head's been turned. He's not in the game. He's not what he does at Salford away now. At Salford away when he's giving you... He's not that Phil Hay anymore. He's not the Phil Hay I once knew.
Yeah, man. God, that's made me laugh. Right, okay. Guys, keep getting your questions in. Where are they at? You got no questions for us? There was one. I found it, but then obviously Oscar fecked off and 2 came, so everyone's just... Oh, he's gone again. He's left us. I think the job's fucked. There's gremlins in the system. Let's wait for him to come back. Here he is. No, he's gone again. I think the meter's gone. The meter's clocked out, man. He's come up to an hour and his meter's gone. Here we are. Is he going to be back? Can we get him in? He's back.
Oh, this is awful. This has been an awful 5 minutes. Sorry, mate. I just don't know what's happened to the internet. It's just literally... It's doing a Kiko on me, mate. It's doing a Kiko on me.
I wanted to chat about this one. So he up muckers. So he says, I love that Leeds tattoo on his forehead. He says, what's the latest on Augustine? Anyone know? What's the implications if we have to pay up and does Augustine come back? We don't have a clue what's going on with that. I don't think anybody does. I think Leipzig are on about taking us to court, I think, and I think it will rumble on. I do think the club have said basically, because we weren't promoted at the time the deal ended, therefore we don't have to pay. But come on, that's COVID. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think that's going to stand up in a court of law.
I just imagine John Kevin Augustine's self-esteem in this whole thing where he's got 2 clubs who just basically don't want him. I mean,
exactly.
His self-esteem must be... He must have gone from... I mean, my word, he's gone from here. Like in January, he was up here, he's been with everyone in the Premier League. And he comes to us and it's just gone like... I mean, I don't know, Augustine's an interesting one. It's gone so quiet, hasn't it? It's gone so quiet. I mean, I don't know, mate. It's a weird one, isn't it, Augustine? I mean, I don't know how we get away with that, I genuinely don't know how we get away with saying we went up on, like, April the 2nd or whatever.
Yeah, as opposed to,
It's a bit naughty, that, isn't it? It'd be hilarious. It'd be classic Leeds shithousery and boiling piss. If we got away with that, though, wouldn't it?
But let's say, for example, I don't think we'll get away with it because they'll say unforeseen circumstances. There was a fucking worldwide pandemic, so Leeds go away. You've got no chance. And
it's
at that point,
when look, it's a terrible, terrible tragedy. But Emiliano Sala at Cardiff, when Cardiff tried to get out of the deal, but the thing is, it was unforeseen circumstances, and this one's the same kind of idea. It's again, COVID's come on a national, worldwide pandemic. It's one of them. You really can't get away with that. You can't get away with that. But having said that, Barcelona got away with it with Lionel Messi because they said Lionel Messi had to tell them by the middle of June he wanted to leave, but technically, because the season was still going on, he couldn't do that, and now he's still at Barcelona. So. Who knows? I mean, I've never learned as much from contract law in that whole case, Messi, and I'm sure we're going to learn more from this one about Augusto because that's not going away, mate. That's going to get nasty especially they've got. They've got Gvardiol, so
I don't think they're going to go. We beat you to Gvardiol. I tell you what, we'll keep JK. I don't think that. Although I've seen some of the RB Leipzig fans getting salty and saying. That's for JKA hashtag, so
we're building a rivalry with RB Leipzig now. They weren't even around 2 years ago. weren't even born 2 years ago.
Boiling piss 24/7, mate. But it will be interesting though if the deal gets done. Like, what happens to him? Like, what? Do you know what I mean? Are we going to be stuck
where
with
he
him?
goes from here.
Are we going to be stuck with him like Union O'Kane training on a school pitch trying to get shot of him? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, mate. Is he going on loan to, like, I don't know, Bristol Rovers in the next season? I just don't know. Like, where does he go from here? John Kevin Augustine, I've never known anyone fall from grace so dramatically for a championship club. The fact is, he literally has gone from playing for a Champions League football club to Monaco, then Leeds, and then to be not being wanted by anyone. But for me, I look at it and I think no matter who he ends up with, if he ends up with staying with us or Leipzig, he's going out on loan. 100% he's going out on loan again, or he's being sold on again. I mean, he just needs to move. He's not suited to us or Leipzig now. Too much is happening for him. And if I was his agent, I'd be saying to him, look, just do whatever you can to get yourself a move before that October the 5th deadline, because his career is seriously in trouble. If he stays at Leeds, because Bielsa's not going to change his perception on him unless Augustin goes on like a Mo Farah-esque kind of diet or something. It's not going to change his view on him unless he suddenly finds that work rate about him. Because I've never looked at Augustin. I mean, I remember all those brilliant angles he got on those pictures of him on a treadmill. He never looked in shape to me. When you looked on the training pitch, he really did not look in shape. And the fact is, I do think
I forget who told me, Oscar, but I'd heard that he put these pictures online showing of him in shape, etc. But I heard he'd come in over. They have that. We've seen it on the Take Us Home 2 documentary where they all came back after the break and were all getting their fat percentage, weren't they? Because Calvin had the most and they were all laughing. But I heard that JKA came back not even in shape. Like when Bielsa had set him these things and they did it and they were like, nah. No way. And Bielsa won't stand for that shit. Do you know what I mean?
He's had 3 months. 3 months to get into shape. It's an awful for any professional footballer. No matter how bad his injury record is, you've got to be able to get yourself in shape in that length of time.
Yeah.
It's not good enough, is it? From his point of view, I've heard other bits and pieces. I'm not going to say from what sources, but that a lot of the players didn't actually like him. He came in with quite a bit of a arrogance, in that first kind of training session. Apparently, he lost a lot of respect in the dressing room. Came into the dressing room and a bit arrogant, saying that I'm going to be first choice here. I'm going to be the big I am. I can't tell you who told me that, but that's what I've heard. And to be fair, I've got no reason to not trust this person. And I wouldn't normally talk about stuff like that. The fact is, he's not our player anymore.
Yeah,
I think it does all add up. It does all add up. Why Augustin simply didn't play at all for us. He played 3 games for us. I mean, I remember him coming on. I think Brentford, it was his second game. Brentford away, I went to that game. He looked so out of shape compared to the rest of the team. He looks like he looked like he's won a place on the bench in a raffle. Honestly,
like Ali Dyer.
Big name, honestly.
Like Ali Dyer, George Weah's cousin that time.
Honestly, you got those vibes when he came on. I mean, he was trying to run. And I just like thinking, just give us your boots, mate. I'll give it a go. I'll run the channels for you, mate.
Yeah, this one. So John H. has said, will Egan be suspended? As long as the ban doesn't get overturned, John Egan will miss out.
Boost, mate.
Massive.
That massively changes kind of like a bit of the tone of the preview this week. Mate, I think Egan is so big for that Sheffield United back line. I think he's such a big player for him and really good player too, Egan, to be fair. I'm surprised he's not got a chance for England. So big boost that, mate, big boost. I think Sheffield United, they very much have the overlapping centre backs and Egan just sits in the middle and just kind of holds the whole team together. I think they struggle without him potentially, and we might. Paddy Bamford's potentially got an easier game now.
Yeah, definitely. Are you still on for Paddy Bamford being the top goal scorer this season?
No, definitely, mate. I mean, I've just seen the comment there. Sean Kevin Lazoga.
I'll never forget that video, man. Get in the box, Lasoga, you fat bastard, and then he just absolutely smashed it, man.
Oh, mate.
Brilliant. Brilliant times.
I mean, Paddy, I mean, what a start for him, I mean, what a start for him. I mean, I've seen so many on Twitter, Norwich fans, Palace fans, Burnley fans, Chelsea fans, all the teams he used to play for, saying, he never did that for us, he never did that for us. He's working under Marcelo Bielsa. Like, believe me, that is the level you can get from someone. And to be fair, I like what Paddy Bamford's doing this season. I think what I've noticed with him, I see him a bit more in a Firmino-esque kind of position now. Kind of like Costa Harrison. He's dropping deep like a false nine, taking the ball, holding it up. And then Costa and Harrison are just running ahead of him, and then Flick as well. And it works really well.
Do you think you can respect it a bit more? Because, so in the Championship, for me, we were head and shoulders above most teams. We had so many opportunities, and it was just he just never used to finish them. But in the Premiership, because we're not carving up as many opportunities, I don't know. Can you respect his overall play a little bit more? Because you're expected to not win every game, so you see more what he's doing in the likes of chasing down the defenders. Not that he wasn't doing that in the Championship, but we see so much of the ball. I guess the main focus is just on Paddy putting it in the back of the net and his failure to do so. However, now when you see it and he's chasing down Gomez, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, do you know what I mean? And is it a case of people are seeing it more now than they did so in the Championship, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, I've just had an absolute shocker. I've called John Egan English rather than Irish, as someone has pointed out. To be fair, fair play. I mean, I wish he was English. To be fair, but look, at the end of the day, I've made a cock up there. But yeah, no, I agree, mate. I think it's the same with Harrison and Click as well. You expect a lot more what they offer off the ball. In terms of being able to block space, press, and all that lot, and just be genuinely intelligent. And I just think Bamford, his technical quality's always been there for me. He's always been a cute player who can just take the ball down, and do little nice little bits and pieces with the ball. That part of our play. I think back to goal, his play is absolutely fantastic. Rodrigo's come on. We've lost the game at Liverpool. Eddie Nketiah came on a few times last season. We lost control. Augustin especially came on last season. We lost control. I mean, you've got to respect Paddy Bamford, to be fair. I mean, look, I don't think it's going to continue. I don't think for anyone, in terms of Costa, Click, they're going to continue to score at this kind of rate. I think it might drop off a little bit. But I think in terms of all three, and Harrison, and then Pablo and De Paul, I think there's a lot of goal threat in this team. Because Bamford, I think we always look a better team with him in the team. I think he just creates a lot of space for the rest and scores the odd goal himself. So I can't have any complaints about him. And I didn't really know what to think about Paddy Bamford coming into this season. I never kind of, I saw a lot of talk, on Twitter, and obviously, a few bits and pieces where, people just absolutely just ripping him to pieces. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? He's just been the top scorer in one of the best seasons, a younger era of Leeds fans will ever see. He's been our top scorer in that season. He's been absolutely outstanding at times, and you got people mocking him before he's even kicked the ball. I mean, I think that's massively helped Bamford, though. I think it's massively helped Paddy that he's had to have that extra motivation, not only to prove, those Palace fans, those Norwich fans, etc., the teams that didn't give him a chance wrong, but to prove Leeds fans wrong. I mean, look, he doesn't help himself, and he's doing that against Millwall. He's not helped himself.
This is the thing, Oscar.
He's got to make sure he doesn't do that this season.
So that's the thing, though, right? This is the funny thing. On my post-match, I said, the fact that you are now scoring goals, do that to me every week if you want. I don't give a shit. The thing is at the time, he was missing chance after chance after chance. I, as an individual, and like others who were at the ground who I know felt like me as well, were cheering him, never bad-mouthing him at the ground, never booing him. So therefore, I felt at the time he didn't have a right to say to me, I can't hear you, Joe, I can't hear you, because I've scored a goal even though I've missed fucking 15 of the last fucking 15. But the fact now that he's scoring goals when given the opportunity, then do that to me. I don't care. Do you see what I'm saying? It was never...
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Bamford had just totally misjudged the situation, to be fair. Totally... I look, it happens, doesn't it? I mean, it's one of those. I mean, I don't care. If he scores goals, as long as he scores goals, works hard for the team. I don't care if he's a Diego Costa or Luis Suarez-esque kind of like, someone who, everyone loves to hate. But I don't see Paddy as that. I think he's learned a lot from that situation. I think, having, seen me, him actually up close in an interview as well, over the lockdown, he did a couple of like Skypes and that lot, for people, for corporate sponsors and that lot. And to be fair, he comes across so well, he really does come across well. He's a really likable lad. I think he just misjudged the situation. No, he is likable.
I'm just laughing at this comment.
It's well, I mean, I agree, mate. Honestly, it's one of them. It's
when he's scoring, you just don't care, do you? That's the fact.
I don't care. Look, Ross McCormack has never had a straightforward life, but when he was at Leeds United and scoring goals, you think I cared about what he was doing in his private life? He
was so good, wasn't he?
That's what I mean. I miss him so. I do genuinely. He's one of those players where you watch the highlights of him and think, and when he went to Aldershot, I actually was genuinely gutted. I think because he was unbelievable off the pitch, as well. In terms of the foundation, and at the time, I knew quite a few people involved in it, and he's so spot on, Ross McCormack. And I just think ever since he left Leeds United, it's just went wrong for him. Cellino getting to Leeds was kind of like almost the death of his career, to be honest. I know he went to Fulham and scored a few, but what a player he was. I mean, he's one of those players like Snods, Gradle, who, you just remember for the moment, Becchio as well, and you just think, wow, wow on this day. But on to Paddy Bamford. I mean, he is likable, I think he kind of admits to an extent, he made a mistake on that one, in terms of doing that. And to be fair, he finished the season really well, didn't he? And let's not forget.
Go on.
On Twitter and that lot, he was taking it. I know he wasn't getting stick at the ground, but there's some of the sticky. I mean, you've got Leeds fans putting compilations together with his misses. What good is that doing anyone? You know what I mean? I'm thinking of it from a human point of view. If someone on Twitter, some 16-year-old on Twitter is putting little compilations together to try and turn a fan base against me, I'm kind of got in my head and look, shouldn't have done it, but I can kind of see why he was that angry. Because he just seemed angry, when he scored, he wasn't like celebrating. He was just kind of like just angry after he scored. But look, at the end of the day, mate, it is what it is, and I back him this season.
Yeah, same. And he's he can't put foot wrong at the minute for me. I think my favourite was his little step over and run round Adoy on Saturday, and the cutback to Costa. It was special, man. I was like, go on,
you don't often see pace off Bamford, do you? You don't.
No,
it's the change of pace, mate. I mean, Adoy's not the quickest, but he just dead. He just literally. It was just the whole move to that as well. I mean, just seeing Giancarlo's comment there, I forgot all about that quote. To be fair.
What's this? All fart, no shirt. What was it?
That one, all fart. No, what's his name?
All
Do you
fart,
remember
no
that?
shirt.
No. Do you remember that?
No.
I think it was one of those games in lockdown, and I was getting really frustrated. I was saying, "Oh, there's nothing about us. We're all fart, no." kind of thing. So I don't know. It was. I remember that. Do you not remember that? I didn't have everyone in hysterics, to be fair, at the time. Someone needs to dig that out. That quote.
Need to find it.
No context. All Leeds TV needs to pull the finger out here.
There was an account set up. There was an account set up.
Yeah, there was. It was. No context how UFC was on the player ratings. He turned up on the player ratings.
He set up a Twitter account. I think there was one. That's it. I think there was one that's
the amount of content that we've given him on the watch-alongs alone for the first two games. When I'm having the row with my uncle in the Liverpool game, just telling him to shut up in that lot. And
I think my favourite was when you went. Oh, sorry, I'm so tired. People said I'm bored earlier. I'm just tired. Where you went, right, let's do the positives. That's enough of that then.
I can't remember what game it was. I need to dig that out. We need to dig out a best of all of us, just like best moments in that lot. I mean, your best one, I think, was it right at the start of the Bielsa era, when he just started the video like this, just started giggling, going like that, and then said, "Oh my god, I need to introduce this." And I said, "This is your match preview." And he just there giggling for like 5 seconds.
I remember
what game it was.
I remember that. My favourite, I think, was Doubters Now.
Doubters Now was a classic.
Yeah,
that was absolutely.
It was after Villa, weren't it? It was after Villa.
Yes, Doubters Now. The stars were aligning as well. The stars were aligning for that lot.
Yeah. I was crushed after that Derby defeat. You know, like as bad as it was anyway. But I was like. I was thinking, I'm going to get so much stick. But naturally, because we're not Premier League, it don't really get that much exposure as I thought.
The first 2 years, we could say whatever we wanted. Now, I'm kind of thinking to myself, there could be consequences to what I'm saying here. You know, I'm having to go at Frank Lampard. If he suddenly wins the league now, the amount of abuse that me and you are going to get, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen in a million years. I mean, it's more likely, top class Mick. But yeah,
Tom Zanetti. It just reminds me of Tom Zanetti every time I see his name.
Zanetti to the Z. Yeah.
But no, you're right.
Zanetti, though, mate. Come on. We want him back. Don't compare it to Tom Zanetti. I mean,
he might know him, man. He might be his cousin or something, man. You never know. T to the Z, lyrical Batman, lyrical G.
In which case, I'm a massive fan of Tom Zanetti and.
Hey, I grew up listening to that, me, honestly. In my teens, T to the Z. Yeah, anyway, that's enough of that.
I heard about your teens when you were hanging around by, what's his name? What's the dome called in Leeds? He said you used to hang around there or something.
The Corn Exchange.
Yeah. I heard you were a bit of a skater when you were younger or something.
No, I went through a stage. I think we all do, though. Go through stages, man. I thought I was a goth at one point.
I could just imagine.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I think we've nearly done an hour and a half, Oscar. We're on an hour and 20 minutes. It's been a really good night. I've really enjoyed it. Monday Night Football, having someone along. So I'll hopefully see you again next Monday. So we've got previews this week ahead of Sheffield United. We'll speak with the Sheffield United fan. We were going to speak to Ingud Nick, but he's in for an operation this week. Sheffield United vlogger. So he's sent me details for his pal. So we'll speak to someone there. Then we'll have the watch along on Sunday, bud. Right?
Definitely will, mate.
Is it Sky or BT?
I think is it Sky on them? Is it the early?
It is. Get up there. It's only Dad from Lad and Dad. I love it.
Leeds.
Yes.
Not heard from him for ages.
No, he don't watch us anymore. He's now that he's a daily podcast, he's too highbrow for us.
He's abandoned us.
Yeah, but it's BT.
Okay. Hang on, someone else is saying Sky now. Hang on, we've got 2 votes for BT, 1 for Sky. Which one is it, guys?
Come on, man. Jazz B is saying Sky. It's BT again.
Either way.
That's the best tat I've ever seen, that.
It is. That is.
Yes, Dad, yes. We're lowbrow.
Either way, mate, we are a better option than Michael Owen or I don't know, who does the Sky ones normally? I think
Gary, G. Nev and Cara, isn't it? Martin Tyler and...
Okay, we won't put ourselves too high, but we're better than Martin Tyler and Michael Owen. We'll give ourselves that. So watch us, sound down on the game, watch your totally unbiased commentary for ourselves, and then, not going to have a go at, anyone. We're not going to have a go at Billy Sharp.
I'll tell you what, just before we go, mate, go, we've got like 7 minutes and then we've done an hour and a half, right? I still think that was a penalty on Saturday, against Koch.
Against Koch?
I still think it's a penalty.
I'm watching it back, to be fair. He does try at the last minute to pull out, but look, at the end of the day...
He slid in from about 5 yards.
Oh, it's ridiculous, mate. I mean, as soon as it happened, mate, I thought, definite penalty. There's no way that... It didn't go to VAR, did it? The fact they didn't even VAR it, but I think when you dive in like that, you deserve to concede a penalty. There's no question about it. And then we can. I know. Look, the comments coming in. No,
they're all like, no.
And
did you see Merson's reaction?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I spoke to my brother after, and my video was already uploaded at this point because I seen the goals back. I quickly watch the goals back, and then I do my video because I prefer it to be like instant reaction, not have time to take on from other areas. Just do it. Exactly. And he went to me, it wasn't a pen, you know. I said, give over. I said, of course it was. I said, he went, no, watch it back. And then I looked on Twitter and everyone was going, no pen. I was thinking, I'm going to get absolutely battered for my post-match here. But I still think, I know people are saying no way, but if he doesn't do the stupid slide, you know, you could say Brian's bought it, but when you're slowing it down and stuff, but if it's for us, I would be fuming if it didn't get given. If that's Bamford running through, I don't know. Yeah,
I think it's one of them, mate. I think it's kind of a 60-40 for me, 60-40 either way. I don't think you can say. I think put it this way. For me,
stop the clock. Stop the clock. We've got a Man United fan saying they don't need Dan James. If you don't need Dan James, what do you need? You can't buy a win for love nor money, mate. You need a new manager, not get rid of Dan James. Anyway,
I think they've got bigger worries than that, to be honest, mate. But there you go. That's the thing. It's but yeah, let's not forget. You know, I remember that classic thing I saw on. I can't remember what Man United's Twitter or YouTube account it was, where it said Luke Shaw is what Andy Robertson dreams of being. I think it was, or something like that.
No.
Oh no, mate! That's not the one. That's not the one.
That's not the one.
That's really not the one.
I missed it. Wow, I thought that had gone in.
Doing well out this City. But yeah, mate. I think I'm looking at. I'm not looking forward to the City game. I'll be honest. I'm not looking forward to looking at De Bruyne just pinging passes around the Ellen Road. I'll tell you
we will get battered one game though, Oscar.
Yeah,
we will get
I think the City game, it gives you those Champions League vibes, you know, seeing like world-class players like coming to Ellen Road. I mean, it's going to be a real test for us, and I'd just like to see us just play our way. But
John Stones can be that though. John Stones, Nathan Aki in partnership.
Aki's not particularly. Aki got relegated last season. Obviously, Mendy, isn't the strongest defensively. Up against Costa. You never know, mate. I think we'll go for it more than what Wolves have. But yeah, I mean, the penalty. I think put it this way: had the referee not given it, okay, and it gone to VAR, I don't think VAR overturns that. I don't think it's clear and obvious enough for VAR to overturn it. But had the referee given it like he did, I'm not surprised VAR didn't overturn it. I just don't think. I think it's entirely down to judgment, that one. I don't think it's clear either way, I'll be honest. I think I would probably agree with you though, mate. I think when you dive in like that motion, it just trouble. You are. If that's not given for us, I'm fuming. I'm fuming because it's a clear opportunity to get down the byline and put a cross in. It's kind of got to be overall for me.
You see this? Aki won the Premier League too. How many appearances did he make? Like one off the bench or something?
Chelsea. Chelsea. Gotcha. I mean, tell you what, to be fair, mate, we're not getting much abuse considering how much stick we're giving Chelsea and Man United in this stream. But they must agree with us then, mate. They must agree with us.
Oh, that is piss poor. Wolves have had a couple of chances here, 10 minutes in.
Yeah, I need Jimenez to score. He's in my fancy team. I'm top of my table at the minute, mate. I hope you're proud of me. I'm top of the table at the minute.
Oh, really? I don't even have a league. I've entered into the Talking Shut League, but I'm like 880 odd, which is never good.
Talking Shuts League, got that many?
Oh, they've got like over 1,000. Yeah, there's loads in it. But I don't understand the EPL one where you've got to use free hit and triple captain and all that bullshit.
It's too complicated.
I just prefer there's 11 and I can make 3 transfers a month. That's
kind of what I've got.
Yeah,
I've got where you've just got 11 players. I can't be doing the bench thing. But you got to keep swapping around. But it's too soft, that as well. You know, if you get an injury, you should actually really feel the injury and say, I've got to take it out. It's too easy.
I forget to do it. Like, who did I leave in? After game week 1, I thought Neco Williams was going to start against us, but he didn't. And then I forgot to sub, so I had Ben White on my bench, and I forgot to put him in, and he got some points this weekend. And it's just, I don't know, just let me pick 11, and that's it. Then I'm done, you know?
No, it's one of them, mate. But on mine, I'm on the Telegraph one. So my dad and mates' fantasy league, and it's about 25 of us, so not too bad. I might have slipped down to second or third tonight because I've not got De Bruyne, Sterling, or Foden, so I probably slipped down a bit tonight. But unless Jimenez scores, but yeah, no, it's good, mate. 40 changes overall over the season, and you can make a maximum of 5 a week. So you know where you stand. FA Cup counts. And there you go. It's quite a tough one, mate.
I think that's an easy way to end the stream. So we're just rambling about dream teams now.
Football, I mean. Guys, I need your help now. I need your help.
Exactly. I need my bed. But yeah, keep it locked to All Leeds TV as per. Thank you for joining us tonight. I've really, really enjoyed it. I had a good giggle. So thank you so much for everyone that joined us. And I guess we'll see in a bit, and we'll end it how we left it. You ready?